real good feeling. This place is jumping off hard as it can get. No, we won't ever stop dancing on the edge. We like it dangerous, we like to see you split. Turn up another notch, you ain't seen nothing yet. Let me tell you something, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, let me tell you something. Right now, right now. Right now, right now. Right now, right now. Right now, right now. Got a real good feeling. Got a real good feeling. Like there is lightning deep in my bones. Got a real good feeling. I won't hit no ceiling. I'm going higher than I've ever known. Yeah, I got a real good feeling. I won't hit no ceiling. Like there is lightning deep in my bones. Got a real good feeling. I won't hit no ceiling. I'm going higher than I've ever known. Got a real good feeling. Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling. Got a real good feeling. Like there is lightning deep in my bones. Yeah, I got a real good feeling. I won't hit no ceiling. I'm going higher than I've ever known. Yeah, I got a real good feeling. Got a real good feeling. Like there is lightning deep in my bones. Yeah, I got a real good feeling. I won't hit no ceiling. I'm going higher than I've ever known. I got a real good feeling.
Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we are going to be discussing a couple of very important things for anyone invested in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Number one, some Ethereum options contracts are going to be expiring, I think, next Friday, and when that occurs, based on historical analysis that we have done in preparation for today's stream, we think that some major moves are going to be coming to your favorite alpha altcoin, Ethereum. Anyone holding that cryptocurrency is going to want to hear what we have to say, and we're also going to be talking about some major buy signals showing up on Bitcoin. We're going to be extending the technical analysis that we did yesterday, going in a little bit more detail, and we're going to be talking about some major firms buying and moving into the cryptocurrency space. None other than MicroStrategy is at it again, buying up more Bitcoin. We're going to be talking a little bit about hackers and ransomware. We have a lot to go over in today's live stream, and I'm very much looking forward to it. If you do enjoy today's stream, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the stream with someone that you know might be interested in what we have to talk about here today. I am joined, as always, by my co-host and your president, Kinda Crypto Tim. How you doing, Tim?
What is up, everybody? I am here. If you thought I was tired yesterday, last night, I'm feeling great this morning, but I only got 2.5 hours of sleep last night.
Dang.
I'm pretty sure that's called insomnia. I woke up thinking about crypto, so I literally...
Crypto kept you up at night,
I literally was like doing a bunch of research last night.
He's at the crypto cage stage, guys.
He's at the crypto cage stage.
Yeah, it was bad. It's happened once before. I don't know if I should look into that or something. But,
That's
but
funny.
ultimately, I feel good. If you're here in the afternoon around 2 o'clock, I might not be doing so swell.
Maybe I shouldn't be complaining, because I got like 7 hours sleep last night, and for some reason I don't feel rested.
No,
I don't
last
know
night
why.
was not the best for me.
That's what coffee's for, guys. Unfortunately, Tim doesn't drink coffee.
I don't
that
do
much.
drugs,
He
just
doesn't do
cocaine.
drugs.
Just cocaine.
We endorse drugs at this channel. By the way, we're talking about coffee. Please don't sue us. By the way, we are joined, as always, by our producer, your one and only Smangatan.
Hello, hello, everybody. I'm singing you this song because I love you, and I'm happy you joined us on the stream today, and I'm happy that you invested in Bitcoin today, and I'm happy you invested in Ethereum today, and I love you guys, and you're great, and you're the special ones, and I love you guys a lot, and I love this show, and I love coffee and crypto. Thank you.
Tell him to like in that voice. You forgot to tell him to like the stream.
Like the stream. Everybody,
There we go.
that'd make
Perfect.
me even
Okay.
more happy.
All right. Well, there you go. Smay made his feelings very clear. He won't be getting my number. That's all I'm going to say on that one. But we have a lot to cover in today's video. And the very first thing that we want to talk about is Ethereum. So let's do it, guys. I have an article that I want to read to you guys, and we're going to go ahead and discuss this. Ethereum has a $1.5 billion options expiry Coming up on June the 25th, will this be a make or break moment for Ethereum? Based on historical analysis that we're going to go over here in a little bit, I think the answer is a definite maybe. Let's go ahead and read. Bull and bears are equally nervous about the possible outcome of the June 25th $1.5 billion Ethereum options expiry. On June 25th, Ether will face its largest option expiry in 2021 as $1.5 billion worth of open interest will be settled. This figure is 30% larger than the March 26th expiry, which took place as Ethereum's price plunged nearly 17% in 5 days and bottomed near $1,550, as you can see right here. But here's the thing about that. Ethereum did correct quite a bit there, but if you'll notice, the bottom here at 1550 for Ethereum was just that. It was a bottom. Once it hit this bottom down here at $1,550, Ethereum would more than double from its low, 180% rallying over the span of 48 days to $4,329, topping out that rally. So the question on the table here is this: will the Ethereum's options contracts expiry result in a big correction followed by a major rally as we have seen in history? Let's keep reading. Recent historical analysis shows a mix of bullish and bearish catalysts. On March 11th, Ether miners organized a show of force against EIP 1559, which would significantly reduce their revenues. The situation worsened on March 22nd as Coinmetrics launched an Ethereum gas report stating the highly anticipated EIP 1559 network upgrade would unlikely be solving the high gas problem. Things started to change on March 29th as Visa announced plans to use Ethereum's blockchain to settle a transaction made in fiat, and on April 15th, the Berlin upgrade was successfully implemented. Before jumping to conclusions and speculations as to whether these phenomenon of Ether's price bottoming near the upcoming $1.5 billion options expiry are bullish and bearish, it's best to first analyze how large traders are positioned. Take notice of how June's expiry holds over 638,000 Ethereum options contracts, totaling 45% of the aggregated $3.4 billion in open interest. Unlike futures contracts, options are divided into two segments. Call, buy options allow the buyer to acquire Ether at a fixed price on the expiry date. Generally speaking, these are used to neutralize arbitrage traders or bullish strategies. Meanwhile, the put/sell options are commonly used to hedge or protect from the negative price swings. If that doesn't make sense to you, that's perfectly fine, because the takeaway is not how options contracts work. The takeaway is what impact this may have on the cryptocurrency markets as a whole. So let's go ahead and read. As displayed above, there's a disproportionate amount of call options at $2,200 and higher strikes. This means that if Ethereum's price on June 25th happens to be below this level of $2,200, 73% of the neutral to bullish options will be worthless. The 95,000 call options would still be still in play, would represent a $228 million open interest. On the other hand, most protective put options have been opened at $2,100 or lower. Consequently, 74% of these neutral to bearish options will become worthless if the price stays above this level. Therefore, the remaining 73,700 put options would represent $117 million in open interest. It seems premature to call who might be the winner in this race, but considering Ethereum's current $2,400 price, it looks like both sides are reasonably comfortable. However, traders should keep a close eye on the event, especially considering the price impact that surrounded the March expiry. So guys, let's go back to full screen and let's discuss this. Every month when options contracts expire, it becomes a major event in cryptocurrency that people talk about. There's a very clear reason for this. With this much money locked up in trades, whenever those trades come to fruition, a lot of people make a lot of money and a lot of people lose a lot of money. And when that occurs, naturally that is called volume, and that can manipulate and move the market in ways that we need to be paying attention to as informed traders. So I want to hear what chat thinks about this. And Tim, I actually want to hear what your opinion is on this. What do you think this is going to do to the Ethereum market, and how do you think this will result in price swings to the upside or the downside?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing is, and I just put an update, we moved up. When that article was written, it was probably written, I mean, I'm sure you could timestamp it, but looking at the prices on the chart, probably somewhere on the 13th. In case you guys didn't know, we went up above 26. We're sitting currently at 25.85, but we were above 26. So ultimately, I think unless we see a massive dip this weekend, which according to the technicals doesn't look like it's going to happen, we're still moving sideways. I don't know if we're going to see like Ethereum hit a new all-time high or anything. However, whenever you finish that expiry on the bullish side, or whenever you finish on the bearish side, the price isn't moving that way. So if we are north of 2,200, which we have not been south of 2,200 in, I don't know, like since June 11th or something like that. Which even that, I don't think we got south. I think we were
Even
just
then, we
touching
weren't
it.
south of it. The last time was May the 30th.
I think that Ethereum is set to do pretty darn close to what I was expecting to do earlier this week when I made my prediction for Friday, and that is to continue to climb towards that 2875. Like again, I think potentially we could make it all the way to 3,000, bounce off of 3,000, come back down. I don't know for certain that's how high it will get. Ultimately, long term we're going to be good, but short term, I think this weekend is going to be very nice for Ethereum. But I do expect the bears to make a push. I do think they're going to try to get some stuff done. It just might be a little bit too late, and just they don't have enough momentum moving there.
Yeah. So, guys, keep an eye out for when those options contracts start to expire on the 25th. It's going to have implications on the market. We've seen it before, and I think that even though the short term might be bearish, I think the long term is going to be very bullish for the Ethereum market. I think a lot of things are starting to move in the direction of bullishness, and we're going to be talking about that not only on Ethereum today, but also on Bitcoin. The next thing I want to talk about here is MicroStrategy. So we're going to go ahead and dive into an article on this. But before we do, make sure to hit that like button if you're enjoying today's stream, and also consider sharing the stream with someone that you think would be appreciative or informed by what we're talking about here, and consider subscribing to the channel if you are new here. By the way, everybody, I will be on Around the Blockchain tonight at 5 o'clock over on Ben's channel, so make sure to check that out. Let's go ahead and read this article, and then we will take it back to chat and answer a couple of super chats. Following massive Bitcoin purchase announcement, MicroStrategy says it may sell up to $1 billion in stock. The firm said it intended to use proceeds from the offering for general corporate purposes, including the acquisition of Bitcoin. Now, I'm not going to read all the way through this article. It is relatively short, but in essence, what we are looking at here is MicroStrategy is looking to sell up to $1 billion of its Class A common stock over the next couple of months, and in doing so, it would be raising money for even more cryptocurrency acquisitions. At the moment, MicroStrategy holds $3.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. I believe that's around just under 100,000 Bitcoin they are sitting on. In fact, it says it down here, 92,000 Bitcoin, roughly $3.7 billion at the time of publication. They've even gone in the red to accumulate this Bitcoin. Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy is extremely bullish on Bitcoin, and we should be paying very close attention to this. Naturally, in any market, there are going to be people that are remarkably bullish, and there are going to be people that are remarkably bearish. That is how the nature of public opinion works. There are going to be people on both sides. But I think it's important for us to realize that a lot of people, and institutions included, are moving from this camp of being bearish in this direction, and that is not a shift that we need to take lightly. We need to pay attention to what these big power players are doing. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later with death crosses and how institutions react to death crosses, so that you guys can be informed on how to use your technical analysis in your investment. The whole point of this article, Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy is buying even more Bitcoin, and that is fundamental developments that I want you to be aware of. Let's go to full screen. Let's discuss this a little bit. I want to hear what chat has to say about this, and Tim.
Someone said Michael Saylor.
Michael Saylor.
No. Ultimately,
I'm being bullied.
This is something we've seen for a little bit. Again, it's not necessarily breaking news. Just I think it's the confirmation of the 500 million, and then the plans for the future 1 billion. Ultimately, what he's doing is doing stuff that we've told you guys not to do, and that is to go take on loans and get
he's going into debt.
Again, he has more money than the average person, so he's allowed to do whatever he wants. We would not advise you guys to go take $1 billion loan and put on crypto, even if we do think it's going up. Just to make smart life decisions.
Tim, can I have a small loan of $3.7 billion?
I would give it to you if I had it.
You would? Okay.
As long as you gave me $5 billion back. But ultimately, this is going to be really nice. But the thing we do need to keep our eyes on is if we learn nothing else from the Elon fiasco, for nothing, for lack of a better way to put it.
It's a good way of putting it.
There doesn't need to be a Bitcoin king. There doesn't need to be a Bitcoin god. Good for Michael Saylor. You're going to make money, but ultimately, Bitcoin doesn't need you either. And the good news is about Michael is Michael realizes that too. Michael is under no delusion that he should be the savior of Bitcoin. He actually really wants to do well by himself, but he believes so heavily in it, he's willing to take a $1 billion loan and invest in it. And I think it'll pay off. But ultimately, we will see. We shall see how that happens. But we can answer some super chats.
Let's do it.
I'm going to answer one that just got posted. And I'm going back 6 seconds. I'm coming back to you. I know you asked us to answer it. Just in case you guys... If you guys give super chats, we don't answer it immediately. What we do is I copy and paste them and go back and answer them so I don't interrupt Jeb while he's going through the points he's going through. But, man.
Screwhead.
I want to read it.
You want to read it?
Yes.
Oh, come on, Smay.
Let's hear it, Smay.
All right. Screwhead says, love this channel. Thanks for everything you do. My financial advisor hates that I'm getting out of stocks and into crypto, but it's been the best decision I've made with my investments.
Yep. I've heard that before. I was talking to my mom about it, and she went and talked to her financial advisor. I don't even know what firm he's through. He's like in Virginia or something, and he pretty much like begged her, please don't do this, please don't do this, please don't do this, please don't do this. And I don't know if she actually ever pulled the trigger. She might still not be in crypto because her financial advisor is telling her not to. But I still have my work cut out for me. I will get her there eventually.
As much as I respect professionals that are financial advisors, one thing that I find, and this is very prevalent in schools like marketing or business, I don't know how you can go to school for business, but people do. The education system right now teaches you the material that was being taught, that was being executed in the industry 5 years ago, and then you still have a couple of years before you graduate and go and implement it. A lot of professionals that learned everything that they know in school and they don't embrace this whole idea of continuing education, because a lot of them don't, even though they're supposed to, are working on information that is 10 years old. 10 years ago, Bitcoin was remarkably risky. I think in the next 2 years, it is going to become commonplace to consider not having part of your portfolio in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies financially irresponsible. In the same way that if you're 35 years old and you don't have a retirement account and you don't have investments, you are probably being financially irresponsible with your money, or you just don't have enough money to do that. I think the public perception of cryptocurrency is going to start shifting in that precise direction. Screwhead just said he took out $5,000 today. Wow. Come on. Cool. All right, let's read that other super chat.
Get the other one that was put there. I think I just saw one flash in my peripherals that another one happened. But 6-second video said, when to enter a long in Bitcoin. Long-term position with a 10x leverage. Do you think Bitcoin is going to reach 44,000 in the immediate short term? And opinions on the imminent purchase from Sailor. So we just kind of talked about Sailor.
Yep.
But as far as when to enter a long into Bitcoin, Jeb, what is your opinion
we
there?
actually have a ton of technical analysis that we need to do on Bitcoin here in a little bit. So I'm going to table that question because we're going to come back to that. We're going to go in a lot of detail on that. As far as a long-term long position on 10x leverage, my question to you is how long on the exchange that you were on are you able to stay in that leverage position? It's kind of difficult to stay in a long-term long because of, for example, on Bybit, they have a system called ADL, automatic deleveraging. If you can stay in that leverage trade for a while and they're not going to want their money back, then it might not be a bad time. But we'll go into more detail on that a little bit later.
Yep, we have one more super chat, and then we can kind of move back into what we want to go with the stream. And it is from Adon Oz. Sometimes I give a lot of options just in case one of them works. In baseball, you get 3 strikes. So,
oh my God.
What do you think will happen to Cardano? What will happen to Cardano, bearish or bullish, next days? What do you think about Cardano, short term and long term? Thank you.
Cardano long term, I think, is a fantastic play. Cardano short term, we don't have a ton of time to go into the technical analysis on this right now, but just looking at the chart, it is bouncing and rallying. In fact, we can look at my chart real quick and I can show you this. It is bouncing and rallying, but what I see right here is what is known as a curved top. You could also call this a symmetrical triangle pattern. If you zoom into the 4-hourly chart, it looks like a bull pennant. Looks like Cardano is going to move to the upside over the next couple of days. However, I encourage you guys to be paying attention to some more technical indicators than just the price action. For example, Cardano looks like it might be about to have a bullish MACD cross. Its RSI is sitting almost perfectly at 50, which means that you're not getting a really strong signal in either direction. And if we check Lux Algo right here, I believe that there's a buy signal. I might be wrong on this. There's no buy signal yet, but pay attention because if one comes, then you're probably going to want to follow it. If you guys don't know what Lux Algo is, by the way, this indicator is crazy freaking good, and you can use it for scalp trading. Like, seriously, let me go down to Bitcoin for just a second, and I will show you what I'm talking about. Down on the 5-minute, these signals that it shows are crazy. As you can see right here, if you had to just listen to these buy signals, you would have bought the bottom on the last 4 bottoms, and you would have shorted the last 4 tops. This thing is nuts, and if you are a day trader and you're looking to make any kind of trade, long-term, short-term, scalp trading, anything, this indicator pack is something that you should definitely have in your repertoire. We have an affiliate link for it linked in the description box down below. If you use our coupon code JEB, J-E-B-B, at checkout, you will get 20% off. So check that out down below. But guys, let's go ahead and move on here because I want to talk about Central America and how a massive multilateral development bank is now going to be helping El Salvador to move forward with Bitcoin implementation. This is a major deal for anyone living in El Salvador, and it is another precedent-setting moment for the future of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So let's read on. The Central American Bank for Economic Integration, CABEI, another one of those alphabet soup organizations, the largest multilateral development bank in Central America, That's a big deal. This is not just some random bank. This is the largest multilateral development bank in Central America. Will help assist El Salvador in its endeavor to adopt Bitcoin, President Dante Mossi announced on Monday. It will create a team with El Salvador's Ministry of Commerce and the Central Reserve Bank of El Salvador that will work in that direction. And I quote, "Bitcoin is a really big deal for El Salvadorans, and we are very proud that they've made us part of this new policy. Considering that the CABEI has $13.5 billion in assets, its strong support could encourage other nations in Central America to follow El Salvador's suit." That is a big deal for anyone working and living in El Salvador, because implementing a national currency change is the kind of thing that happens very, very rarely in a nation's history, and it is something that requires a complete overhaul of the financial infrastructure in the entire nation. The transition to Bitcoin is not going to be a seamless one, but in the same way that when you're transitioning to a new office building as a business, or you're transitioning to a new home as a family, the transition might not be very comfortable, but the destination could be a lot better than where you started. And I think we're seeing the exact same thing happen here. We are seeing El Salvadorans' householder business, if you will, transition from one location to another. And yeah, that move might not be the most comfortable thing in the world. It might be sweaty. You might have to hire some people to help you out. But once you get there, you're going to be glad you did, because the destination is a lot more comfortable than where you started. And for anyone in El Salvador, I applaud you and your president for moving in this direction. We've talked about this quite a bit, but this is one of the updates that I wanted to bring to your attention. Want to hear what chat has to say about that, though? About El Salvador, and what do you guys think?
Yeah, I was like, there's people asking what countries are next, but I don't know if someone commented there.
What countries are next? So there are several countries that are looking in this direction. Paraguay is one of them. I think Brazil is not necessarily. Do you know anything about what's going on in Brazil?
I mean, I don't know the details, but I know that Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay are all getting involved. Obviously, what you just read about with the banks. There was one comment in chat that was, I think, an interesting concept, because it kind of, when I read the article, I was kind of like, well, that's interesting in one way, but kind of troubling it as well. I'm trying to find the comment, but they pretty much were saying like, oh, like the whole purpose of this was get away from the banks. Now they're getting involved. Ultimately, here's the thing. That is a little confusing and a little bit like, dang it, like the whole point was to get away from the banks. However, what's cool about Bitcoin is it would be like a trap to the bank. So any bank that gets involved in Bitcoin, great, good, because guess what? Bitcoin is not going to change what it is doing, and it will chew up the banks, spit out the bones. It was not built for the. It was not built in a way that the banks can control it. It was actually built so that they never could.
Yep.
So while it is a little bit like, man, that's a weird thing. Like, I'm glad for El Salvador, but I don't really want the banks involved. The good news is there's nothing the banks could do even if they were involved.
Yeah, I know. This is a good point, because how many times in history have we seen a revolution happen, and during the revolution, all the revolutionaries thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. We're overthrowing a evil government. It's going to be paradise when we finish and when we are victorious. And then the incoming government is even worse than the one they overthrew. How many times has that happened in history? Almost every nation on the planet has gone through that at one point or another. And the concern of a lot of people in cryptocurrency is that the same thing might happen here with El Salvador. Maybe this revolution just leads to phase 2 of jacked up financial institutions. Maybe this gets corrupted and messed up in the same way that it happened in America and throughout the rest of the free world during the last century as we moved away from the gold standard. That is a very valid concern. Here's the answer that Bitcoin has to that. Bitcoin is decentralized. Bitcoin has a limited supply, and Bitcoin cannot be controlled unless you get a supermajority of 90% to agree on any transactional or any, not transactional, but foundational change to its code. Bitcoin cannot be altered. Banks and institutions, by their very nature, have to be malleable to the market or they will fail. The banks are the ones that have to manipulate themselves to match and fit Bitcoin, and if they don't, they'll get left behind. Bitcoin has all of the power, it has all of the leverage here, and the fact that it's not controlled by anyone is the reason that we can be confident that this revolution will be successful. It is a very valid concern, but I think that based on the way that Bitcoin is built, it is one that we shouldn't be too worried about.
I want to reply to Nine Line Crypto. I love it. Nine Line Crypto. I'm assuming you are. I think we've talked about it before. You're an XRP guy. Just so you guys know, there was a whole beef between me and pretty much every single person on that's a XRP enthusiast. Just so you guys know, this is actually really exciting. Tomorrow, it won't be on the show, but in the afternoon, Matt Hamilton, I'm assuming you guys know who he is. He's going to be coming, or not coming, but he'll be on a stream with us or in a video with us that will be posted on Thursday. So I'm super excited. Just so you guys know, in case you guys didn't know, I all the time say don't buy XRP, don't do it. it's kind of turned in more to a joke. I have my reasons. I don't like XRP, but what I'm super excited about is get to hear from Matt Hamilton himself on why I should change my mind. I don't want to debate him. I want to reason with him, and I actually would love for him to change my mind. But yeah, 9line Crypto, or if anyone who loves XRP, guess what? The shot to change my mind happens tomorrow, and it will be out on Thursday, so you don't want to miss that video for sure.
There you go.
But
let's read what Matt C has to say, and then we got to keep it moving here.
Yep.
Matt C said, Michael Saylor's explanation of why he's borrowing to buy Bitcoin makes sense. Why not borrow now at a very low interest rate, 2 or 3%, for an asset that has historically been making gains much greater than that? This is actually one of the things, and this is so off topic, but because you donated again, Matt C, thank you very much. I will go ahead and give you my take on this.
Matt might need his own huddle trophy.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, let's go. Here's the thing that a lot of people need to understand about finances. A lot of people are under a lot of financially conservative people are under this assumption that you should pay down all debt and you should have zero debt. That is fine, but why not take out a 2% loan to go and invest in the S&P 500, which will bring you 8% year over year? It's a valid question, right? Here's the way I look at this. If you have very similar risk between a loan and between an investment, and this investment historically you can prove generally makes a lot more money than this investment is going to cost you on interest, then why not do that? You got to be safe with it. I don't recommend that, because if you don't know what you're doing and you're not doing it wisely and you're not an expert in this kind of thing, you can have that backfire and you can get caught holding a bag that you don't want to be holding. In fact, that kind of thinking implemented the wrong way is why the 2008 financial crisis happened. But if you know what you're doing, it is what businesses do to raise capital so that they can grow. It's not a bad thing, so keep that in mind. If the returns can be proven to be higher than the interest rate, then it is something that you might want to consider. For SME and the Celtics rebuilding process.
Just donate the money for the whole organization. They're
Dang.
They're down bad.
Do we send that to the Celtics then?
Yeah,
They might need that $5. Yeah,
Yeah, they're going to need that. No, real quick, 2 other super chats before we keep going. Shy asked, question, why do OTC purchases not affect the price?
Good question. The reason OTC purchases don't affect the price is because they're not on exchange. Why is that not affecting the price? When you're on exchange, you're buying and selling on an order book. There's only so much cryptocurrency in the sell orders, and there's only so much cryptocurrency in the buy orders. If you're looking to buy and sell in an exchange, there's something called a depth chart where you can see how much cryptocurrency is being sold and how much cryptocurrency is being bought. Bitcoin and every other market moves based on that. Whenever you sell Bitcoin, you are naturally dropping all of the buy orders, and that causes the price to move down. When you're selling, that naturally raises all of the buy orders because you're buying up all of the sell orders, and it causes the price to move up. When you're on over the counter, there's no exchange for that to occur on, so it's not something that can move the price in that way. That is a very important concept that you guys need to pay attention to, is that whenever there is a order going on over the counter, it is not going to directly impact the price. For example, Michael say, Laura, I guarantee you is not buying $500 million worth of Bitcoin on exchange. It's not going to have a direct implication on the price, but what it will do is that if he holds on to it, it will decrease the supply of Bitcoin, and through supply and demand economics will have an impact on the price. It just won't have a direct impact on the price as if one of us went and bought 10,000 Bitcoin on Bybit or something. Hope that makes sense.
Yes. Last super chat, and then we will keep moving on, is some L Rhymes, and I'm going to be able to answer this for you, L. I think I did in the comments, but even for other people who maybe have a similar situation, like you asked a question, you're trying to get CT2A, but L Rhymes said, I've been trying to buy CT2A with Bitcoin, and no one has gotten back to me. What's up, Jeb? So here is what is happening. This is a lot of companies are going to be like, oh, well, I'm going to tell you guys straight what happened. Our ticketing system to make sure people get timely responses crashed last week. So we worked overtime just to get that fixed back up. So it is operating again. So if you have a question or you were trying to get a hold of CT2A or anything else, and you have not gotten responded to, we are doing the best we can to get back to you as soon as possible. However, if you send us another message, that will be seen quickly because we want to make sure not to just go back and look at the old ones and ignore the new ones. So our team is working simultaneously to continue to handle the new ones while going back and answering old ones. But if you want to help us out and send a new message, you will get your answer a lot sooner. And so you guys, just in case you guys know, if anyone else has that question, CT2A, you can buy with Bitcoin and Ethereum. We do have systems. I think there's other cryptos as well. I'm not certain certain which coins exactly. But yeah, L Rhymes, if you want to email us again, we will get back to you very quickly if you send a new message.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So let's go ahead and move on here. I want to talk about this article just a little bit, and then we're going to dive into some Bitcoin technical analysis. Hackers ditching Bitcoin from Monero due to traceability issues. Now, you guys have probably heard of all the ransomware going on. In fact, it happened to the hospital here in our own city. There has been a ton of degenerate lowlives trying to hold hospitals for ransom for Bitcoin. And a lot of these lowlife degenerates have now realized, wait a second, I'm stupid and I didn't notice that, oh yeah, Bitcoin is trackable and you can tell where the transactions are going. Now, you can't tell the location of the wallet. You can't tell a whole lot about it, but it is public record based on the way that Bitcoin is built that you can see where the transactions are going. So all the degenerates out there that are doing ransomware and demanding Bitcoin for it are now asking for Monero because Monero is a privacy coin. Look, guys, Monero is a cryptocurrency that is very well built, in my opinion. It works a lot. It works very similar to Bitcoin, except it has privacy on it, which means you can't see where those transactions are going. Here's the problem with that. And this is why I've never been an investor in XMR, which is Monero's ticker symbol. That means that you are able to money launder through it. And that is something that regulators are never going to allow. They're never going to be very happy about a cryptocurrency that you can launder money through. The way that you launder money is by sending transactions in a way that cannot be tracked. If you build a cryptocurrency that can send transactions that cannot be tracked, the SEC, well, not the SEC, the IRS is going to be very, very interested in finding out, oh, wait a second, where did all those transactions go? Bitcoin itself does not in any way, shape, or form allow for criminal activity any more so than any other currency. Just like any other currency can be used to demand ransom, so too can Bitcoin. That being said, it's a stupid thing to do because dollar bills can disappear into God knows where. Bitcoin's transactions, every single one of them that has ever happened, is still public on the blockchain. It's very easy to track down which wallet that went to, and then all you got to do is figure out where that wallet is located in physical reality. It's a dumb thing, and the people that hacked the pipeline just a couple of weeks ago found that out when the FBI was able to hack into the server that the Bitcoin was on. A lot of them are moving in the direction of Monero. 2 points here. Number one, got to be careful with Monero because there's a lot of ransomware going on right now, and regulators are going to start looking at it a lot more closely if it becomes the method by which these criminals are using this for. But my second point, and the more important one, is this. Bitcoin is a stupid thing to use for criminal activity because you can see where the transactions are going. This is just more proof of the fact that Bitcoin is not able to enable criminal activity because it actually helps the very regulators track down the criminals that the criminals are trying to avoid. You shoot yourself in the foot if you use Bitcoin for criminal activity. Monero is not the same as that, so be careful about Monero, but this just goes to show you that Bitcoin does not have a concern about criminal activity any more so than any other currency does. In fact, it actually helps law enforcement track down the criminals that committed the illicit activity on its network. So guys, I want to hear your thoughts on that, but before I answer a couple of questions here in chat, smash that like button if you haven't already. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps out the channel quite a bit. And consider sharing this video with someone that you think might find it useful. And also, by the way, if you were interested, you should follow us on Instagram and Twitter over at CryptoJeb and over on TikTok at CryptoJebOfficial. We are very active over there, and there's a ton of content going up that you're not going to see here on the YouTube channel. If you want everything we have to offer, make sure to follow us on those platforms. Let's go ahead and read a couple of chat messages, and then we're going to move into some technical analysis.
Yeah, Late Game Crypto said, that's what I keep saying. It's amazing how many crypto investors think Bitcoin enables money laundering. It's not possible.
It's not.
I think I've told this story probably 2 or 3 times now. I have a uncle who literally, he's come to me several times being like, don't come crying to me when Bitcoin goes to zero. It's a terrible project. It enables criminals. And is like, I'm just like, okay. Like you just don't see it.
That's like saying the US dollar enables criminals, except every time you transact on the US dollar, it gets added to a list of transactions that is public and everyone can see. That's literally what you're saying.
Yep.
That is just not true. We had 3 super chats come through in
right in a row,
order.
so we can knock those out.
Let's knock those out.
All right, so 80 on Oz says 88 to $1.57 is, or 88 to $1.57 because that's what it's currently at. Is that good? What do you think today of it?
Well, it's I don't know how to make a $1.57 seems to be a place that ADA is holding stable.
Okay.
I think that Cardano it very much needs to see the rest of the cryptocurrency market have a strong movement so it can follow. Cardano, as much as I love it, is still not the leader in the cryptocurrency space, not even the leader of the altcoins. It is naturally going to follow Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I think that Cardano needs to have those power players move first before it goes into any major movements itself.
Something I noticed, and I know there's a lot of things that can be broken down there, but if you guys go look at the daily chart on Cardano, you will see if you look at the bodies, not the wicks, the bodies, we are continuously setting higher highs
jump to
and
my
lower
screen and we
lows.
can show us that.
We're kind of in an ascending trading channel, which is why, like those of you who wondered, I have a price prediction for Friday sitting around $1.92. I went high. I figured Jeb would be somewhere in the middle. I wanted to, on the off chance Cardano explodes, get the higher edge. But I honestly think we could be sitting in that region of, Jeb's prediction of $1.75, maybe $1.75, maybe north of that, all the way up to the 192. Maybe even, Cardano has a tendency to do its own things and go on these crazy rallies. It could be over $2. But if you look at that, it is in a ascending channel that if it stays as predicted, it's just going to keep going up to that level. Right? Oh yeah, I can see now what you have on your screen. That's perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what I have drawn up. So when someone asks, Cardano breaks the rules. That's the other thing about Cardano that is frustrating. Right as we think it's about to do something amazing, it does nothing.
Cardano
and right as we think it's about to do nothing, it does something amazing or terrible. So it's a fun one to track.
Cardano does its own thing. Cardano's a little weird.
Yeah.
All right.
Next one, 6-second video said Binance FTR perpetual content.
Future.
Future. Okay, I'm trying to decipher. 39,800 exit, 44,000 liquidated at 32,000. Possible in the immediate short term. What is that one? To reach target. Okay, to reach target. Just adding it all together. When is Saylor going to put the money?
Is this I'm not sure if you're talking about a trade that you're in, because if it is, I can't give you any information on that because I would be detracting from your own ability to learn on that one. When is Michael Saylor going to put the money? I'm not exactly sure when the transaction has happened or if it's happened yet, but it is going to happen very soon. He's talking about putting more money into it.
Yeah. Next one. What if bull market is over? This is from Jacob Scones. I don't know. That's a great name, but I just don't know how to pronounce it. What if the bull market is over? Do you consider this scenario?
Skonitska?
What is your opinion about XRP? Greetings from Poland. Okay.
Skonitska.
From Poland, Jeb.
Is it Skonitska?
Skonitska?
Skonitska? I don't know. That's interesting. I'm really curious how to say that.
Yeah.
What if the bull market is over? I very much do not believe that it is, and I'll give you a very brief explanation of why. Because even when the price is down, the institutions are buying. Institutions are very intelligent. They don't buy if they think the price is going to keep going down. They buy when they think they found the bottom. They are buying. Michael Saylor is a good example of it. I don't think the bull market's over. Do I consider this scenario? Of course I consider it. I just don't think it's going to happen. What's my opinion on XRP? Tim, what is your opinion on XRP? I'm going to let you answer that.
So, great. This is the thing. I am very humble to let my opinion change. However, if you guys are watching, and this will be discussed with Matt, there's the obvious, a lot of accusations against it about whether it's actually centralized or decentralized. And I understand from an objective, and you look at it, you look at things, it is decentralized. However, when you look at the nodes that are voted on that make it decentralized, unless something has changed, at this point, the way XRP does it is Ripple, who owns a lot of XRP, gets to choose which ones are made, or which ones are voted on. So ultimately, it's like you can vote on things that were chosen by XRP. That's not decentralized. That's my first problem with it. The second problem is that it's, from a fundamental aspect, it was literally created to help the banks communicate and transfer money well. It was created as, I've heard the phrase, it's a banker's coin. If crypto was created for the purpose of getting us away from the power of centralized banks and was created so that the people have control, there's a difference between that and what's happening with Bitcoin. A bank getting involved with Bitcoin to help Bitcoin is okay because ultimately Bitcoin is the master. But what's happening with XRP is it's more like XRP is allowing the banks to remain the master and to allow the banks to continue to stay king.
Yeah.
And that's my problem with it. Now, am I wrong? Potentially. I don't know. I would love for Matt to change my mind. I'm not set in my ways. I just have my opinions based off the research I've done and off of what I've learned. If Matt gives me good answers to that, my opinion will change. So again, make sure you guys watch that video on Thursday. But that's what I think about XRP. Jeb, tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Look, guys, the thing about XRP is that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and this is something that I want to clear up, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency were not technically designed to overthrow the banking system. Bitcoin and not Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, just Bitcoin was designed to create a decentralized, limited supply cryptocurrency, digital version of cash that was based on the internet, that was immutable, and that was trustless. Now, banks, in theory, could build their operations on top of Bitcoin because at the end of the day, we're always going to need financial services. It's always going to be easier to have someone help you with your money. I mean, ask any corporation that has $1 billion in Bitcoin, and do you think they're holding $1 billion worth of Bitcoin in a ledger, in a floor safe in the CEO's office? No, they have someone holding it in custody. There's a reason that banks exist. I don't think the banking system is going to disappear. What I do think is going to happen is that as Bitcoin becomes much more successful, the banking system is going to be forced to adapt to Bitcoin, and they're going to be forced by the very nature of our adoption of Bitcoin to move in the direction of supporting an economy that is based on sound monetary principles, such as not building your entire economy on debt and inflation like we have done over the past 100 years. The banking system will probably always be around. It's not just going to disappear, but it hopefully, if Bitcoin succeeds, will be forced into the image of what Bitcoin sees it for.
I think the ultimate thing is, and you said it right there, I just want to make sure people caught that part of it, and that really wraps it up. The issue isn't kill the banks. The issue isn't let's not have banks. The issue is who is in control, the bank or the investor.
Absolutely.
And that's the question. Does XRP take the power away from the bank and give it back to the investor?
Which it doesn't.
Or does it just empower the banks? That's what I want to get an answer to.
Absolutely. That is exactly the point I'm making. So guys, let's go ahead and move on here, and let's go ahead and talk about some technical analysis. Now, we don't have an article on this, I don't believe. Tim, I might be wrong on that, but we want to talk a little bit about the death cross that everybody sees coming in on Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, I think what's really cool, because this is one of the articles I found last night, I want you to read the article, let's go look at the chart, and then really break down what that potentially could mean, especially in the psychology of retail investors versus institutions.
Okay, well, I do not have that article.
You don't have the article?
It's not in the planning document.
Oh, my goodness.
But I can go ahead and show you guys what we were talking about here. For anyone who doesn't know, a death cross is what happens when a 50 moving average on the daily chart crosses below the 200 moving average on the daily chart. Death crosses are commonly understood in the public image of technical analysis to be very bearish things for the market. I am here today to challenge that assumption, and the article that Tim is finding is going to help prove that. But I want to show you some back analysis on Bitcoin to show you what I am talking about. These two moving averages, whenever they cross, historically, are naturally going to have some kind of impact on the market. Everybody pays attention to it. But I want to show you something. Let's go ahead and put a vertical line on every single death cross in the history of Bitcoin. In fact, I'm going to do this on BLX so that we have the whole history of Bitcoin. And I'm going to show you what this looks like for Bitcoin whenever there is a death cross. There is a vertical line right here for a death cross. There is a vertical line right here for a death cross. If we continue back, there is another one right here. There is one right here. Excuse me, it's actually right there. And then there is one right here. So we have a vertical line on every single death cross in history on Bitcoin. Let's go to the weekly chart now that we have those verticals. These are the 5 death crosses that have happened in the history of Bitcoin. Let's do some analysis on each one of these. Down here in September of 2011, there was a death cross on Bitcoin. Let's take a look at what it did. This death cross, yes, it did result in a 74% correction in 60 days. This is true. Now, you guys got to realize, this was back in 2011. Bitcoin would just casually rally 4,000% in 60 days. So keep in mind, 74% sounds like a lot, but quite frankly, this whole correction was like 95%. If I show you the measurement here, we pulled back 94.3%. So yes, that happened, but keep in mind, this is very early markets. We want to be careful with how much we extrapolate from such nascent markets as these. Moving on here, the next bearish death cross that we saw on Bitcoin. Yes, it did result in a pretty major correction. 129 days, we pulled back 70%. Okay, cool. Let's keep that in mind. The next death cross resulted in absolutely no corrections, and now we're getting more into modern history. And in 51 days, Bitcoin rallied 122%. Moving on here to the next death cross. We actually missed one. It's sitting right here on Bitcoin at the beginning of the bear market for 2018. Bitcoin, yes, saw a small correction of 30%, which again sounds like a massive number, but for anyone in cryptocurrency, you will know that that's not that big of a deal. And then from there, we rallied 52% over the span of the next 30 days. We have 2 more. Bear with me here. This death cross, we saw a correction of 37% in 30 days. And then on this death cross, we saw a correction of 8% in 3 days. So those are the 6 death crosses that have happened in the history of Bitcoin. But let's take a little bit of a longer term perspective. If you guys will notice, every time that there was a death cross on Bitcoin, if we're zoomed out and looking at it from this perspective, what happened next? Pretty much immediately following this death cross, we went into a bull market. More or less immediately following this death cross, we went into a bull market. Immediately following this death cross, we went into a bull market. Following this one, we pulled sideways for about 3 months. COVID happened, and that caused a massive crash, so you can't attribute that to the death cross. Then we went into a bull market. And this one, yes, we entered a prolonged bear market, and in this one, yes, we entered a prolonged bear market. There have been 6 death crosses in the history of Bitcoin, and I am here to tell you today that 4 of them, within 120 days, led to a bull market.
Yeah.
That is not even to mention that there's only 6 data points here. So we kind of have to look at other markets to see what this does in technical landscapes. And that is where Tim's article comes in because his article talks about, I believe, the S&P 500 and the history of death crosses there.
Yeah, put it
Take
there
away,
for you.
Tim.
I put it there for you. It's here you go, Jeb, so you can click that up while I'm talking. Ultimately, what it talks about, I'll kind of sum it up in a second. It's going to be talking about the history of the S&P 500. And real quick, I'm going to give you even my take on this death cross. First of all, I think Chaz pointed out earlier, he was asking, I can't remember if it was Chaz or somebody else. He was asking, he's like, oh, are we seeing the death cross actually flatten out? They're not going to actually cross. They're going to run simultaneously. I think they're still going to cross, but here's the thing. Not only based off of what Jeb just said, that death crosses even recently have not been catastrophic for crypto. If anything, it's actually been helpful. The other thing is, potentially, even if it is like the one we saw in, I think, what was it? It was the December or November of 2019, where it did go down, but was it 20%?
Bitcoin corrected because of COVID, and then it just exploded.
I'm not saying that we will for sure go down to 35, 36,000, but if we do, it is okay because that would actually make a lot of sense that we rally up here really quickly to like 44, 45, which is what people are predicting, which is what the technicals say. But there's also technical analysis saying that we probably could retest that 36, 35, in which case that cross, which we might see here in a week, maybe 2 weeks, would send us back down to 35 as that spring, as that like trampoline to skyrocket us. But ultimately, except for these 2 examples that Jeb's about to tell you, historically, institutions that are doing trading, these are people who know their technical analysis inside, outside, upside, downside, backwards, forwards. They look at these crosses and that's how they determine, all right, it's time to start buying, because they know that retail investors, people who don't read the technicals, who don't know what's happening, who just listen to fundamentals, they see that death cross and they're like, this is scary. We're in a bear market. Let me get out.
Yep.
And that's when the institutions jump in and they get to take control of things. So please, no matter what this is, even if the price does drop a little bit from it, please do not get paper hands now and dip.
Yeah, guys, you got to realize there is a very real impact that the media has on markets. Whenever you call something a death cross, investors freak out because they want their, their investment portfolios to be living, because that's why they bought in the first place. The fact that it's called a death cross is terrible branding, and that's the point, just so you know. Here's the problem. The 50 and the 200 are such slow moving averages that by the time they've crossed, most of the correction is normally over. Let me show you this on the chart, and then we're going to move on to this article. Let's take a look at some historical analysis on these death crosses. Notice this death cross right here. Before the death cross even happened, Bitcoin had already pulled back 63%. On this death cross right here, Bitcoin had already pulled back 42%. On this death cross right here, Bitcoin had pulled back 58% and was close to the bottom. On this death cross over here, Bitcoin had already been in a bear market for almost a year. And at that time, when it crossed bearish, Bitcoin was already on the second half of the bear market. Over here, Bitcoin had already corrected quite a bit. If we take a measurement here, Bitcoin, by the time that this death cross happened, had already pulled back 86% and had been in a correction for 113 days. Death crosses are such lagging indicators that you really can't use them for short-term price movements. They are actually much better used as long-term buying signals. For example, yes, this death cross might not even happen because we might level out. If that happens, then great. This is a moot point. But if it does happen, guess what? Bitcoin is already corrected 40% over the course of 70 days. In technical analysis, we want to be looking for leading indicators. Those are indicators that give us a signal about something the price is going to do before the price does it. I can't make a trade 3 months ago. I can only make a trade today, and this death cross is only telling me what's going to happen 3 months ago, so it's not very useful.
I want to respond, and I'm going to let you respond too quickly to Nick Anderson. He said, technical analysis is a waste of time. Everybody has the same chart. There is no edge. Nick, I respectfully disagree because not everyone has the same chart. Well, everyone has the access to the same chart. Not everyone uses the same chart. However, all the traders who are watching things, they're actually, the reason it works is because everyone is looking at the same thing and they make a psychological decision based off of what other people who know what they're doing are doing. I know, Jeb, you can back that up even more. You have that whole video in CT2A about the psychology of technical analysis. Do you want to further that anymore? Did I answer that kind of?
So the job of a scientist is not to have answers. The job of a scientist is to go and find people that he can ask questions to.
Yeah.
It is not our job as analysts to know exactly what the market is going to do. It is, however, our job as analysts to be informed on everything that people are using to make decisions. people make trades based off of technical analysis, and they make trades based off of fundamental analysis. They make trades based off of news, and they make trades based off of countries buying Bitcoin. They make investments based off of these things as well. It is not our job to know what Bitcoin is going to do. It is, however, our job to know all of the things that are impacting other people's decision making. Technical analysis is by far and away the second largest thing that people make trades and investments based off of, second only to fundamental analysis, and it has a much better track record of making short-term predictions than fundamental analysis does, simply because it is so much more precise than reading an article or a headline. Technical analysis is something that you can't ignore. In the same way a scientist who is studying physics needs to know his, his elements or basic mathematics. If you take technical analysis out of the picture, or if you take fundamental analysis out of the picture, you're just saying, I'm just going to ignore the periodic table. I don't need that. I can do my job without that, right? I know enough. That is not what a prudent trader or investor does. You have to be informed in these things, and if you're not, you're sure to fail. It is only a foolish captain that sets sail without a map, and technical analysis and fundamental analysis are the maps and the sextants and the compasses and the tools that you need to become successful in cryptocurrency. And by the way, that's why we have an academy teaching you guys everything you need to know about technical analysis. It's called the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, and the link is in the description box down below. We have served nearly 4,000 happy students and customers. If you'd like to find out more about it, you can check the link below. Let's go ahead and read some super chats.
Yeah,
and like the
we
stream.
got a lot of super chats. So let me back up because there's some that are a little closer, but I want to make sure these are answered. Aaron Seacrest said, any thoughts on Zilliqa and the big moves they're making? I don't know why I'm not reading them right.
People are always asking me about Zill. I don't know a whole lot about Zill, guys. I'll be honest with you. I focus on the larger cryptocurrency. I focus on the larger movements in the market because that's how I can provide the most value to as many people as possible. If I spend a bunch of my time looking at individual products, then I would go nowhere. You know, it's the idea of a tree grows deep roots and then those roots grow wide. A tree grows very tall and then that tree's canopy grows wide. I want to be as very deep as I possibly can in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano. And I kind of limit my scope to that so that I can be as knowledgeable and wise on those things as possible. So I don't look at every altcoin, so I can't really give you a great answer on that, unfortunately.
Yeah. As we move on, Adon Oz says, you expect a bullish move for Cardano before a dip? There's going to be a lot of questions, I think, in here about Cardano. But do you expect a bullish move for Cardano before the dip?
I don't. It's hard to say. Frankly, I haven't done a lot of technical analysis on Cardano in the last couple of days because it hasn't been a topic on the show and I haven't been looking to make any trades on it. I can't give you a whole lot on the short-term price action of it. Tim, I know you've been doing some stuff on it. What do you think?
I mean, like we just said, it's in a ascending channel at the moment.
It is
moving north. So what's the definition of bullish? Like, I mean, it's going to move up and it's going to move down. It happens literally every second. But the question is, I'm assuming you're meaning overall, it is currently in a phase where it is setting higher highs and higher lows.
Yep.
So therefore, it is moving in a bullish trend. How much longer that will last before it takes a correction is the question.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, moving on. Matthew Dobry Carey says, do you think VeChain, being a Chinese-based company, will hinder global adoption despite being a standout option in its niche? Loving the stream.
Well, as we found in the last 20 years on the China issue, what is economical gets adopted.
Yeah.
If they have a good product
Yep.
that delivers value to the customer, it's probably going to get adopted. And if it doesn't, a competitor will come out with the exact same product and compete with them in first world markets that don't want anything to do with China. I don't know enough about VeChain's backing to be able to give you a concrete answer on that, but I can tell you economically, if it delivers value to the customer, some way, shape, or form, that technology will become prevalent and widespread.
Yep. Keep moving on. Adon again. He says, I think he said a lot of Cardano questions. Do you think smart contracts will bring ADA to $3? If the question is open ended, meaning whenever, then yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's going to do it.
Totally.
It's going to do that, and a couple other things are going to bring.
I think a lot of things, not just the smart contracts.
I think what he's asking is, do we think it's going to pull it to $3 very, very quickly?
I think that Cardano will go to $3 when Bitcoin goes back to all-time high, and so does Ethereum. Cardano right now is following Bitcoin and Ethereum. Yes, it's in a shorter-term trading channel that is rising. It's setting higher highs and higher lows, but at the end of the day, it needs to see mommy and daddy crypto make some moves before it moves. Bitcoin and Ethereum really lead the market, and whatever they do, the rest of the altcoins are really going to follow. I think that Cardano will do that, but we're going to need to see some more bullishness out of the big players before that happens.
Gotcha. All right, we'll keep moving on. We got, let's see here, next one from Luis. I think someone said even that this is a good question. They really liked it. Luis Garcia said, Bitcoin El Salvador equals currency. Michael Saylor equals store of value. Is it better for Bitcoin price to have both, or is one better than the other for the price?
All good currencies have both. Here's the problem. Most currencies don't have store of value anymore. They're fiat currencies, and they gradually lose their value over time. There's a reason that gold and cattle and corn and seashells were adopted as currencies. In fact, there's a reason that the U.S. dollar was adopted and used by the public as a currency. It wasn't because the U.S. government mandated it. It's because people chose to use the U.S. dollar. You can't convince millions of people, especially in the founding of a new country, to use the currency that you want. You can't, you can convince them. You can't force them. You have to convince them by saying, hey, by the way, our currency has store of value. That is the underpinning of what makes a currency is its ability to have a store of value. The problem is that all of the currencies in the world had their foundation pulled out from under them when they lost their backing of gold. And now they're all free floating. Have you ever seen a piece of aluminum float on water? What happens if you tip that a little bit and one edge goes beneath the water? The whole thing sinks. The same thing is happening right now on fiat currencies. They're all floating on nothing. They have no pylons driving down to the bottom of that lake that they're sitting on. Bitcoin is designed to be that foundation. Bitcoin will be successful because of that. Bitcoin is both a currency and a store of value. Whenever people ask me, Jeb, are you on the side of Bitcoin being a store of value, or are you on the side of Bitcoin being a currency? My response is always a resounding yes. I'm on both sides. It is not a debate. Bitcoin, to become successful, must be able to show both capabilities. If it can't, it will never be adopted. Bitcoin has to be able to be used as a currency, and it has to be able to be used as a store of value, or it will never reach its full potential and purpose. I think that it can do both, and we're seeing it do both in El Salvador as a currency, and with Michael Saylor, and with us, for example, as a store of value.
Yep. Got a couple more super chats, and then we'll be wrapping out the stream.
Yep.
We got Elite Thinking. Love this comment. He says, guys, if you like the content, then like the content.
Stream.
Like the stream.
Do it.
We are sitting at 2,200 people, and we have 700 likes.
Let's get to 1,000.
Yeah, let's
knock it out. Let's get to 1,000.
I want to read this question. It's not a super chat, but I think this is actually a really good question. So
Okay.
I want to hear what you think about this, Jeb. He says, Luke White says, do you think quantum computing will cause issues for crypto in the future? Would it not make mining obsolete?
Quantum computing is a quantum leap in computing technology, obviously, right? That's what it's called. The thing is, we have always seen quantum leaps happening in computational power. It's called Moore's Law, that over an 18-month period, we generally expect that computing power per size of unit should double. That has been true since the dawn of the computer age. Quantum computing will simply cause that exponential function to jump a few steps. And then it's going to continue from that point. Bitcoin has a difficulty function that adjusts the difficulty of Bitcoin for exactly that reason. Because naturally, the network is not only, one, going to get more efficient, and the ASICs and GPUs that are mining Bitcoin are going to become more powerful, but also the network is going to become more widespread. Does quantum computing pose a threat to Bitcoin? Yes. But in the same way that China having over 50% of mining power poses a threat to Bitcoin, there is never going to be a technology adopted that does not have threats posed to it. Just so you guys know, the internet was not a surefire thing. Neither was indoor plumbing or electricity. It happened despite the threats. It did not happen in lieu of having no threats. It happened despite those threats because it was capable as a technology of overcoming that. For Bitcoin to become successful, naturally, it's going to have to do that. And I have every reason to believe, based on the analysis that I've done, because I've looked a lot into this quantum computing question, and I can't go into all of it on today's stream because we are running out of time.
Yep.
Quantum hardening is something that the blockchain developers are looking very much into, but at the end of the day, I say that a lot, the hardness of Bitcoin is determined on a 2-week cycle by the difficulty functions, and it should be able to sustain any kind of quantum computing that we have to throw at it. Now, there are other questions about cracking private keys and whatnot. If that were to occur, then what we would have to do is we would have to move from SHA-256 hashing functions to SHA-512 or some other hashing algorithms. That is something that can happen on Bitcoin, and if the need is there, the miners will more than likely come to consensus and move in that direction.
Yep. All right, moving on, because again, we are running out of time. Alessandro the Cynical says, does it say something that every time crypto crashes, my emotional response is no longer fear, but mild annoyance?
That is called maturity.
Yeah, that's
good for you.
That's good.
That is good.
Shinjin, again, no vowels. Shinjin says, says, Michael Saylor himself has said multiple times that technical analysis on Bitcoin is nonsense.
Michael Saylor is an investor. He's not a trader. If
Yes.
you're buying Bitcoin and holding it for 20 years, then yeah, you have no reason to do technical analysis. I am an investor, and I am holding Bitcoin that is going to be useful for 20 years. I think that it's very interesting to try and figure out what the market's going to do next. I look at it as like a game. Technical analysis is not just a game, though. Technical analysis is the most important tool that you will ever have in your toolkit if you are a trader or a short-term investor. If you're looking into Bitcoin for the next 2-3 years and you're not planning on holding it for a very long time, you got to have technical analysis. Fundamental analysis is important, but technical analysis in the right place, which is on the shorter-term time frames, is absolutely paramount. You cannot ignore it.
Yep. It's also really helpful to show people why Bitcoin has been successful for 12 years, because sometimes they don't just believe you just because you say that. So.
Yes.
Adion Oz says, do you expect, again, another Cardano question, $1.75 Cardano this week, or do you see a dip?
$1.75 is actually my prediction for Friday.
Prediction on Friday.
So, yeah. Yep, we'll get to those predictions in a
pass
second.
that and keep going up. But the last one, 6-second videos, said, would you suggest to invest right now in Bitcoin or Cardano for the immediate short term?
Investment and short term are antonyms. So you kind of got to pick which side you're on. Investment classically is defined as buying and holding for more than 1 year. It's classically defined as saying you're in a long-term capital gains tax bracket. If you're investing in it, then yeah, it's a great time if you're planning on holding it for more than a year. For the immediate for the short term on Bitcoin and Cardano, I am pretty confident that we're seeing a strong buy signal right now. We're actually seeing Lux Algo start to show a buy signal, so make sure to check that out.
Yep.
I think it is a good time. Yeah.
Last one, and this is the last super chat, is from Jacob. Again, from Poland, man. I just can't pronounce it. Let's forget about the sentiment and the market capitalization. Which coin has the best technology? Very subjective question. But do you have an answer?
Which industry has the best technology? They all do different things.
Listen,
unless you specify which exact technology you're talking about, like down to the actual subunit, that's not a question that you can answer.
Cardano, I mean, we're talking about platforms. The things that are coming out on Cardano are going to be insane.
Yeah.
The answer
we'll
is
talk more about that
Polkadot.
in the future. What did you say?
The answer is Polkadot and Solana.
Yep, you would say that. Yep. But speaking of Polkadot, Polkadot is listed on Coinbase Pro, which hopefully soon will be on Coinbase. We can talk more about that in different videos. What I do want to say before we leave, though, is make sure if you have not already liked this video, go hit it. If you're sitting next to someone, tell them to hit it. Make sure you share this video, subscribe, so you're here with us every single day. Go check us out on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure you follow us there. A lot of new stuff is happening out there. We're trying to grow those platforms, so make sure you're a part of that. Also, there was a lot of questions in the stream today about Bybit. We unfortunately do not have time to cover that, but that is something we are discussing really soon. Let us know in the comments. Let us know on Twitter. Send us emails. Let you want to see that. We will produce a video for you guys very shortly on that and potentially go into deep detail. We shall see. Other than that, am I forgetting anything else, guys, before I just make sure they know what's happening with the
Don't believe
prediction?
so. Take it away.
All right, at this point, what we are sitting at, we have Tim's prediction of Bitcoin at 41,450. Smay's at 36,069. Jeb's at 43,000. Really, it's anyone's game. I guess technically I'm sitting the closest, but again, it's only Tuesday, so that doesn't really mean that much. On Ethereum, I said 2,875. Smay said 2,569. Jeb said 2,850. Smay's winning that, but we shall see if it goes up. Or if it goes down, he's going to win that one. If it goes up, though, it'll be a tight race between me and Jeb. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
And the last one, Cardano. Tim is at $1.92. Smay's at $1.69. We see a pattern there with his three guesses. And Jeb says $1.75. Make sure you stay tuned on Friday to see what is happening. Also, in case you guys are wondering, there's a big announcement coming Friday. You don't want to miss it.
Yes.
Make sure you join the Friday stream.
Yep.
It will be exciting. Hit the other streams as well, but make sure you don't miss Friday.
Yeah. Guys, before we wrap it out, make sure to check out our newsletter. That comes out every single Friday. It's totally free. It doesn't cost you a thing, and we are attempting to bring you the highest quality information up to date that we possibly can. Check that out. The link is in the description box down below. The link is now working, by the way. The link was broken yesterday, so if you wanted to join that, then you can check that out. But guys, that is going to wrap it out for today's video. Before I go, though, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.